Everybody loves playing with mods, working with energy, mana, storage, conduits, machines, magic. However, has this ever happened to you? There's a different tool for every mod, let alone a different book. Sure, you could store all your tools in one giant chest, but you'd have to run back and forth every time you want to use one, and sometimes you might grab the wrong one. Oh no. Even worse, using the wrong tool on the wrong block can lead to disastrous consequences. There's got to be a better way. Well, now there is. Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 here for the Morpho Tool. The Morpho Tool is the most amazing device you'll ever need to carry. Simply look at any modded block and automatically the Morpho Tool morphs into the appropriate tool for the job. No longer will you forget which tool to bring, no longer will you need to remember which tool is used for which mod. But wait, that's not all. Act now and we'll automatically throw in the Akashic Tome. This amazing book will automatically morph itself into the appropriate book for the appropriate situation. Not sure which modded book to look into? No longer with the Akashic Tome. And if you don't have a block nearby to use, simply right-click and choose. Operators are standing by. Call now. Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to a brand new Mod Spotlight. 2 for 1 again, we're taking a look at Morpho Tool and Akashic Tome, both made by Vasky, the mod author of Britannia, among a few other little things. Akashic Tome and Morphing Tool, as you just saw in the infomercial-esque intro to this video, are pretty neat little devices, I have to say, and I'm really excited about them. As you guys are probably aware, just like we said, pretty much almost every mod nowadays has some kind of wrench-like mechanic or ability, right? Whether they're called a wrench or a screwdriver or a wand or a hammer, one way or another, they manipulate the blocks in their mod, and a lot of mods are starting to add books. So as you start to have to maintain all these different items, you do start to fill up your inventory pretty quickly, as you've seen me do in my Let's Play series. So Vasky went ahead and created the Morphing Tool and the Akashic Tome, both of which aim to solve these problems. So let's take a real look at how these devices work. So to get started, just craft yourself a Morphing Tool. Pretty easy to make, and craft it alongside an existing tool. Just like that. Morphing tool. Boom. Now you've got a morphing tool, and if you hold shift, you'll see which tools are on it. The morphing tool now has the Britannia Wand of the Forest. Pretty cool. Simply look at any Britannia block and you'll notice that it automatically morphs into the Wand of the Forest. So unlike other Omni tools, which try to match the functionality of the device that you're trying to mimic, the Omni tool literally switches itself to that wrench or tool or wand. So basically this is the Wand of the Forest as long as you're looking at this, and even when you look away it stays a Wand of the Forest. Now if you look at a vanilla block, it'll switch back to the Morpho tool because it has some vanilla functionality like being able to rotate tile entities and things, but otherwise it'll stay on that mana device from Britannia, the Wand of the Forest. Pretty cool. Simply add another tool to it to add to its functionality. So you'll notice that right now the morphing tool is not able to interact, for example, with the MFE, nor can it interact with the Andrio capacitor bank. Simply go ahead and add that functionality. It's a shapeless recipe. There we go. Cool. Now when we hold shift over it, we'll see that it's got the Andrio Yeta wrench and the Industrialcraft 2 electric wrench. Cool. Now when we look at this, we'll see that it obviously swips back and forth. Pretty awesome. Gotta love it. Now, since it does emulate, for example, the Yeta wrench, you can use it in crafting recipes, but you probably shouldn't do that because you'll either get just a Yeta wrench back, or in this case, it actually uses up the Yeta wrench, so the morphing tool would be used up as well. The other thing to note is that the Morpho tool only switches when it's in your hand. So notice that it's staying on the wrench right now, even though I'm looking at other blocks, which is pretty useful, especially for the IC2 wrench, because as you can see, you're using up some of the energy in the wrench. So if you want to charge it, make sure the Morpho tool is still on the electric wrench, and you shouldn't have any problems. If you really want to make sure it stays and doesn't get switched, you can also throw it into your offhand and still use it, assuming the mod that you're using it with supports offhand functionality. Finally, if you want to get your tool back for some reason, just make sure the appropriate tool is shown and Shift Q. Note that it throws out the electric wrench and you get your morphing tool with everything else on it except the electric wrench. If you want your Yeta wrench back, Shift Q. No problem. It should also be noted that there's a config file that allows you to blacklist certain items. There's also an option to allow every item to be attached, which is disabled by default. There's a whitelist for specific names. So you can say, for example, wrench, and anything that has the word wrench in the name will be added. Also, if you want to whitelist specific items that might not automatically be detected, go ahead and just check in that config file. You can easily see the format of the config file and add your own items to it if they're not automatically detected by the mod, which, like I said, most items are auto-detected. The Akashic Tome, which is a separate mod, but works in pretty much the exact same way. Simply add your manuals to it. So different mod manuals should be automatically detected. There's a config file for this as well in case any aren't. The first time you want to open it up, simply right-click and it'll let you choose the type of book that you want to look at. So if we wanted to see the Deep Resonance manual, there you go. Shift left-click to clear it, and then you can choose a different book. Awesome. Cool. And if it's not currently has a book chosen, simply shift right click to automatically select the block that you're looking at. Pretty cool. Do note that if you're looking at a block that doesn't have a manual, or if it's a vanilla block, you'll see that it'll jump to specific wikis in much the same way that the Lexica Britannia allows you to. Also, the same functionality of Shift plus Q will go ahead and clear one book from the Akashic Tome, and you can go ahead and see we've just removed the Lexica Britannia and gotten it back. The same rules apply for crafting as well, so if your books for some reason have a crafting recipe that's associated with them, I would recommend not doing it. It should work, but you might get back just the book itself without the whole rest of the Akashic Tome, or you might not get the item back at all. So that wraps up the mod spotlight on the Akashic Tome and the Morphing Tool. Pretty cool mod. Definitely. Well, mods, I should say, because they are two different mods. But you probably are going to want both of them, if I'm going to be honest. If you're going to get one, you might as well get the other. They're super useful. I just think it's really cool how the Morpho Tool automatically morphs into the appropriate tool, assuming that you've added it to the Morpho Tool. And if you haven't, it's so easy to do. You simply just drop it into your crafting table, and you're good to go. Nice. So cool. All right, guys. Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the mod spotlight. For now, take it easy.